Hey everybody, it's Gypsy. My physical therapist just left. I'm trying to recover. Every session gets more and more difficult. I think she's trying to kill me. I'm joking. She gave me, I think, two new exercises. There. Oh, camera's freezing again. Could all the spirits in my life please back up away from my computer? That'd be lovely. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, so it was rough. I think my sessions are only supposed to be 15 minutes because of insurance, but they go on longer. Yeah. Um, so, today I wanted to talk about a topic I feel very strongly about, in that I think a lot of people misunderstand. Okay. Now, especially if you are my generation or older, you were taught to be self sacrificing. In other words, don't love yourself, put everyone else first before yourself. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Sounds like a very loving and advanced being, etc. It's not. Okay. Now, in my case, I was raised where you're not to think highly of yourself. Being proud of an accomplishment is kind of borderline. It was very touchy, very iffy. You could be proud, but I believe in humbleness, but not to the point where you can't acknowledge your accomplishments and that you cannot be proud of yourself. That doesn't make sense. Not really my main topic, though. When you put others before yourself, you cease taking care of yourself, if you ever took care of yourself to begin with. Okay? You cannot, one, love others unless you love yourself. Okay, that's another thing where the connectedness comes. Like, all right, the other day my son showed me this image, which I never did finish telling you exactly what he showed me. He showed me the globe, the planet, and these strings going from every living being, attaching every living being on the planet. It goes further out to the universe too, but we were talking about the planet. Um, So the self love is important in order to love others. Now, we are all very, very good at putting on a good act. And, we don't love ourselves, but we can give off the illusion of loving others. So you're putting others before yourself and you're acting like you love others. But in your heart, do you really? Now, in my experience when I did this, there's a lot of times, yes, but I had a lot of resentment. Okay, there was underlying anger because I couldn't put myself first, or let's say I wouldn't, because I bought into the brainwashing of self last, self hatred, and everybody else you put before yourself. And for me, it was to the point where I thought everybody was better than me, everybody knew more than I did, and I had, well, no talents or anything to offer. So it did cause that resentment. And I think it does in everyone, whether you want to admit it or not. It is true. And that is a vibrational frequency that cannot be hidden. Consciously, it can be hidden. But everybody in the universe on that spiritual level picks up on it's not real. Okay, that you have resentment, etc. This is what leads to depression. The anger and depression, that's where that's coming from. So if you're not loving yourself first, you're not loving others truly. You may come off all Miss Sunshine and everything like that, and what can I do for you? But if you're not doing anything for yourself, you're not loving yourself, first of all, you're not loving others. It's an illusion, it's an act, it's insincere. So when you're not putting yourself first, well, you're not taking care of yourself. You're not putting your needs first. You're not taking care of yourself. I mean, basic needs and anything else. Um, Sorry, I gotta fix something here. So I'm going to use the typical scenario of when you're on a plane and there's an emergency. Before you put your child's oxygen mask on, you put your own on first. Because if you don't, you'll pass out and then you cannot help your child. It's the same thing all through life. And this is what I have discovered. If I'm not taking care of myself, and this did happen to me, I will get sick and I won't be able to do anything for others. I had a stroke. And for years afterwards, after that stroke, I suffered from chronic fatigue syndrome because after a stroke, you have months of fatigue, but it goes away. Mine didn't. And I had a bunch of other chronic illnesses. So I couldn't help others. Yet I still kept trying because the guilt was so great. And on top of that, years after the stroke, I'm having these illnesses that doctors, there's no concrete diagnosis and there isn't really anything they can do for you. So I felt guilty because I felt that people didn't believe that I was sick, even though I looked like shit. And I kept trying to do for others, and I was not helping myself get better. So I really was not helping anyone. And it got to the point where I just had to stop and say, okay, I just started saying, no, I cannot do this. I am too sick. So what I found is when I am loving myself first and taking care of myself, I can love others better and I can do more for others. I love helping people. I do. I love people and I love helping them. But if I'm not helping this person first, I'm not really going to want to help anybody else. I know this. I've experienced it through the majority of my life. Now, what I'm going through now, I had gotten to the point where I was so self sufficient and I had the ability to help others, especially family members, close friends. I was able to do that. And then all of a sudden, I fell and I fractured my tibia plateau and shattered my tibia. Here I am 15 weeks later, and although I could do a little more for myself, I have to rely on others a lot. It's hard for me. Okay, so I'm in a position again where I have to ask for help all the time. Now, in order to do this, I have to love myself enough to do it. So again, that past putting others first is still creeping up on me. And I have to remind myself, I have to love me first and take care of me first. Um, and I know there is this big thing these days about the greater good. And self sacrifice seems more prevalent now than even like in my generation growing up. It's not just a familial thing, it's like a society thing. The best thing you can do for the greater good is to love yourself and take care of yourself. Because when you're emotionally healthy and you're loving yourself and you're physically healthy because you're taking care of yourself, you can think more clearly. You can discern information coming your way and you can see more clearly, is this for the greater good or is it not? When I do something, how does it affect others? You can discern that more clearly. You're using your third eye, your pineal gland, when you're healthy. You cannot when you're so busy hating yourself and being self sacrificing. You don't see clearly, you're not using your third eye. So you cannot discern these things. My youngest child, who's now 25, but we're going back like at least a decade when he was a kid, I would be worried that I couldn't do something for someone because I wasn't feeling good or whatever. And you go, Mom, ask yourself this. Is this a matter of life and death? Will the world come to an end if you say no, if you don't do it? My son, for as young as he is so wise. And I will always remember him telling me that. And that's a way to discern it. Okay? I'm going to leave you with that. Blessed be and make it a joyful one.